The Wall Street Journal, though, is reporting that more and more Americans are actually sliding into debt, and they want to keep up with the Joneses or at least stay in the middle class. Joining me now to discuss, Fox News contributor Liz Peek, and from Young Americans for Liberty, Kristin Tate. Liz, let me start with you. Staying in the middle class, they used to call it keeping up with the Joneses. I'm not sure if this is the same thing, but it is very expensive these days, isn't it?
Yes, but I think a lot of the numbers in this report are somewhat misleading, Charles. For example, let's talk about the middle class. Historically, and that's kind of the comparison here, not everyone went to college, so that really wasn't part of the middle class. And I'm not saying people shouldn't aspire, but I think when you talk about debt going up and student debt going up, yeah, that's an investment. That's how people are looking at it. And when there are numbers in this piece in the Wall Street Journal about how credit card debt has increased 9%. Well, during that period, GDP grew 18%. Look, we are in a very low interest rate environment. Consumers are showing very smart choices. They're basically not buying into housing because they're skeptical that that's the store of value that they long assumed that it was. Instead, they're putting their money into college and other investments like that. And by the way, when the Fed's got interest rates at 2%, that's what consumers should be doing. You know,
you make a great point, and I think it was missing from the article. Households' disposable income as the ability to service debt is amazing. It's so much better than it was on the eve of the Great Recession, Kristin. And another great point, I mean, should we consider the college debt the same way we consider credit card debts that people couldn't even pay for?
Well, when it comes to college debt, one thing a lot of people don't want to talk about is the fact that the government involvement in giving out basically unlimited student loans has contributed to the spiraling cost of college. But when it comes to credit card debt, Charles, I think one of the biggest issues here is that so many Americans are simply living above their means. And this is a crisis created by an education system that does not teach basic finance. In all my years in high school and college, I never even learned how to balance a checkbook. I had to learn basic finance and budgeting from my parents. Some of it, though, wanting
to keep up with the Joneses? You know, one of the most incredible stocks in the last 5 years is Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. It's up like 800%. It's gone through the moon. Everyone's got to have on the Louis Vuitton shoes. I mean, really, it's not before there's things that were exclusively for a certain class of individuals based on income. Forget about it. Everyone's buying this stuff and everyone's portraying an image, and that cuts across every educational level.
Yes, people have become financially ignorant, I think. People put a nickel in their pocket and think they can spend 10 cents. I have a lot of friends in my age group who make great money, but they are living paycheck to paycheck because they're going out to restaurants every night, they're buying high-end cars like BMWs, and renting these expensive apartments they can't afford. I know one couple, they have a household income of 6 figures, both have great paying jobs, but they're about to file bankruptcy because they're $150,000 in credit card debt.
Liz, let me give you the last word on this. I don't think the article is as dire, and I know there's this sort of knee-jerk thing to sort of compare where we are now to the eve of the Great Recession. I don't think we're there yet.
Well, look, consumer balance sheets have increased enormously over those years. Yes, debt is up, but assets are up way, way more. And it's only made consumers more optimistic and more positive about spending. It's not just the 1%. The entire country has seen an inflation in their assets. But to Kristin's point, one of the sort of sob stories in this piece was about a couple with 6-figure income that had to cut back from going out to eat several nights a week. Guess what? If you have a new baby and you've got expenses, that's kind of what you expect to do. I think the expectations are a little misguided.
Yeah, popping champagne, though, is a lot of fun. I mean, I wouldn't know, I heard, but it's a lot of fun. Ladies, Liz, Kristin, thank you both very much.
Thank you, Charles.
Oil prices, by the way, recovering really nicely today after the biggest plunge of the year. In fact, years. And we're going to have a live report on oil. As you can see, it's making a nice move as soon as oil closes. That's next.